ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Local then, local now. Member FDIC.
It is Tuesday, October 26th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We're going to get you through this hour. The phone line is open now. The White Claw phone line, 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. White Claw Hard Seltzer, it is made pure. Text line is also open, 304-523-2275. Coach Huff presser earlier this afternoon. Pretty much the basic stuff you would expect. He had a good time with Vinnie Curry watching the Knicks play. Doesn't know much about basketball, but he's learning. And a couple of basic things he went over there. We usually would get to that, but I kind of want to leave the show a little bit more open today because right now I'm sitting here, laptop open. A presser that was supposed to begin, originally it's going to be 4:30. Then it's 4:45. Now it's after 5. Here as the show airs live. It's after 5, and I'm still waiting to see what the presser looks like for Southern Miss. It's official, by the way. Southern Miss is going to be a member of the Sun Belt Conference. So the announcement is today that Southern Miss will be a member no later than July 1st, 2023. So you're going to have the remainder of this season. You're going to have that transitional year, and then you're going to have Southern Miss in the Sun Belt. Here's the statement that was released. This is a big day for our conference. We are thrilled to welcome the University of Southern Mississippi to the Sun Belt. Southern Miss brings a host of strengths to our conference. They are competitive across all of their sports, have a strong brand, and are supported by a great fan base. The electric atmosphere surrounding their games is a tradition we are proud to now be a part of. And this is from Commissioner Keith Gill. He's done an outstanding job, don't you think, of managing the Sun Belt, leading, and I use that word, leading the Sun Belt. I have not felt leadership from Conference USA. I feel leadership from afar from the Sun Belt and Commissioner Keith Gill. He added, I am grateful to President Dr. Rodney D. Bennett and Athletic Director Jeremy McClain for their leadership during this process. I'd also like to thank the CEOs and athletic directors of our current member institutions for their efforts as we continue to discuss adding new members. It was unanimous across the board. Nobody objected. And of course, they're not going to say, we had one dissenter here. Yeah, we had a couple of dissenters, but it was almost a slam dunk. But welcome to the conference. No, that's not happening. It's across the board. Welcome into the conference, Southern Miss. Now, when's Marshall going to do this? We're still waiting. Here we are. It's Tuesday. We'll find out Thursday when Brad Smith is anointed the president of Marshall. Look, that if I was betting in Vegas right now, welcome President Brad Smith. Until you can give me evidence otherwise, it's Brad Smith, right? This is a slam dunk for him. This is a huge slam dunk for him. I was down the hall earlier this morning talking to my good friend, Bill Cornwell. And Bill's like, Brad Smith, that's my buddy. I'm like, okay. He's excited. A lot of Herd fans are excited. I don't know if there's too many people on the street that think it's going to be a different name when this thing is finally brought open into the deliberation portion where we get to be a part of it. Yeah, this is a slam dunk right now. Brad Smith, president. I mean, I keep getting asked that. Hey, what do you think? Brad Smith. He'll be the president. We, of course, will get some different opinions on the program a little bit later on, because I'm getting the booth like, hey, no, not yet. The booth wants to speak. No, not yet. Later. You should have been here for the production meeting. So, if you've got a dissenting point of view here, the text line is 304-523-2275, 304-523-2275. 7-5. Here's a statement from Jeremy McClain, the director of athletics, the University of Southern Mississippi. Today is a great day for Southern Miss. I want to thank Commissioner Gill and the board of directors within the Sun Belt for their faith in our institution and our ability to add value to the conference. We are excited about adding our rich tradition of success and passionate fan base to a conference that values those attributes, and look forward to working together to continue to elevate the Sun Belt on the national stage. So Southern Miss is going to make that conference better. When Southern Miss is good, your conference is better. If Southern Miss was having better success on the football field, Conference USA would be higher regarded, I believe. Because when Southern Miss was cooking, I mean, it's a much better league. They've got history, they've got tradition, they've got great fans. They have, I think, a lot of value. You don't look at Hattiesburg and go, oh man, that's a great TV market. You don't look at that. You don't go, oh yeah, we could get the Hattiesburg television market. We're looking for TV markets here in the American. No. You want passionate football, right? This is all going to go to streaming eventually. You look at the Marshall basketball schedule, it's going to streaming. I mean, linear television is a thing still, and I value it. I value linear programming. This is linear programming. I mean, we're here live now. For those of you listening on the podcast, thank you for making the choice to download the show and listen to it on your schedule. And we make it available for you because I understand you can't be here live all the time. But if you're here live, there's a value to being live, and there's a value to streaming if you can't watch it. Because really, what's the difference between being on a linear platform, we call it linear, where you're watching the game live on your cable or your satellite, or you opening up the ESPN Plus app and streaming it live, or maybe on a delay? Because I'm watching New York Rangers hockey yesterday on ESPN Plus. It was live. It wasn't on cable or satellite where I could get it. If I had the center ice package on DirecTV, I could have watched it like that. But instead, I'm watching it on ESPN Plus because that's part of my package, my subscription to ESPN Plus. And so I'm excited. I get to watch the game. I don't care if it's on satellite or cable. I care if I can get it. That's what I care about because I sought it out. Now, a lot of Herd fans still like the traditional way to watch things, and I get that, and yes, I value that too. Because you're hoping that someone looking for a game, maybe someone who's not invested in your team, but looking for something to watch, stumbles upon it. I mean, I can do that now with the streaming packages. Just, I'm scrolling. Hey, what's on today? Scroll down. Okay, you know what? Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina. Yeah, that was on linear TV, of course, but I could click that there as well and watch it live. So I think the Sun Belt has done it right, going after passionate fan bases, excitement there, because you're going to see, I think, an energized Southern Miss fan base. They're going to be definitely excited. It's by the way, 5:15 right now. And the presser has not yet begun here unless they're waiting for something. I see the cheer. I see the band. I'm assuming that this is the presser here. We're waiting. There's a podium, chairs. It's empty. We don't need that, though. I was kind of want to see if we could maybe go to that, but we'll see what happens. I was kind of curious what they were going to actually say, but the invitation has been accepted now. So now we're just waiting for Marshall, waiting for potentially Old Dominion, James Madison. We're waiting to see what happens next. And some media reports are saying, hey, this thing could be done by Friday. I am not of that mind just yet. I need to see what happens on Thursday when a new president is announced. And again, I'm of the mindset that what does waiting a few days mean? If you already have the president in your mind as a collective body and you've extended the offer, You've extended the offer. Now you can get their input. And what's the difference here in saying the new president has, along with the board of governors, accepted the invitation to the Sun Belt, other than optics, right? The optics here. Is it going to be the new president that's going to be forward, even though the new president doesn't take the job officially? Is it going to be the new president, or is it going to be the current administration making the announcement with input from the new president? As far as I'm concerned, new president takes over next year. Current president, current athletic director, board of governors make that decision. Doesn't matter if new president is going to come in a few months. Sure, you want that person's input, but at the same time, not on the job just yet. Don't make changes based on the person coming in while you still have people on the job, right? Sort of like the president of the United States. Even though Joe Biden elected president, Donald Trump's administration just didn't stop and say, okay, hey, we're going to start doing things your way now. And that's how it's pretty much gone. I mean, you have transition teams and all of that. But, I guess what I'm saying in here is if you want to consult the new hire, that's great. But this is something that I don't think you can sit on too long unless there is still deliberation over the hire. And then you want to have the optics that the new hire has had that input that has been sought by the Board of Governors. And here it is. Okay, the new president signed off on this. And I'm not trying to start rumors, and I'm not trying to imply anything, but I know there has been the thoughts that maybe there's some dissension here between football and basketball. I get it. I understand. I heard Dan talk about travel last week, and I know from just anecdotal conversations, some people have taken that as, okay, maybe he's not keen on the Sun Belt here. And I don't think he's sitting there going, man, I hate the Sun Belt. Let's just, it's all about basketball. I think wherever Marshall lands, you got to make the best situation if you're Marshall basketball, if you're Marshall soccer. And, of course, there is those conversations that maybe Marshall soccer is going to find a new home in the Sun Belt if the Sun Belt starts up soccer again, because you got a couple of years before you become a member of the league. That's plenty of time to restart soccer. I mean, that could be part of the announcement here. There could be, once you get this done, the Sun Belt comes out and says, hey, we're bringing Marshall in. This is what they bring. And we're excited to also announce that we're restarting soccer in the Sun Belt. And then all of a sudden you got Marshall. I know you got Kentucky. I know you got South Carolina, right? West Virginia. Do you think West Virginia is going to go back to the MAC after pulling out and saying, we kind of want to come back now? No. So wherever Marshall's going, I think West Virginia would go as well. The coaches for both Marshall and West Virginia really like each other. There's a history between them. It's a good competitive friendship and mentorship role once upon a time. Two colleagues, two people that really like each other. So you have programs that they're going to basically talk it over amongst themselves. And, I'm sure you're going to have okay, this is going to make sense for Marshall, West Virginia, and the Sun Belt maybe. I mean, this is pure conjecture and speculation on my part right now. Just throwing it out here. But it comes back to this for me. Sun Belt Conference making the announcement that Southern Miss has accepted the invitation. I think Marshall could be moving faster. I think Marshall needs to move faster. I think Marshall needs to basically come out and say, here's where we're at. Instead of this, let's just wait until we hire a new president, let that person have the input. And again, I mean, you saw the tweet from Patrick Farrell. The Marshall Board of Governors is going to name a new president next Thursday, which is coming up this week. Next Thursday's board meeting, new president is going to be named. Okay, you're going to name the new president. Are you going to surprise that person? Hey, you got the job. You make the invitation first. We're going to offer you the job. Are you accepting? Yes, I'm accepting. I mean, do you do that ahead of this? Have you already done this and this is just a formality here? Are you planning on making this announcement and then having that person be forward facing on the next step here? What are you doing? Ultimately, we'll find out. And I read Chuck Landon's column today, and he said that we're going to have to wait a few days after. So I'm assuming he's thinking, okay, you got the announcement Thursday, 4 more days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So we're going to have to wait till next Monday? We're going to have to wait till next Monday to find this out? Do you really want to see the fan base go stir crazy any longer? Seriously, do you want? I mean, it's fine for me. It gives me more things to talk about. I appreciate it. I really do, because I can just sit here for an hour every day and just talk about this. I can churn this up and throw some new stuff in. Remix it. It's like leftovers. I'm put some new seasoning and some new flavors in. Hey, cut some fresh peppers up. We'll season this up a little bit here. Throw a little paprika in it. We'll remix this here. Monday it's a meatloaf. Tuesday it's hamburger helper. We will come back. Get your phone calls in. 877-420-TALK. 877-420-8255. You know what else we're going to do? We're going to get your text in. 304-523-2275, 304-523-2275. We'll talk a little Herd soccer with you. We'll talk more about what's happening with Southern Miss, making the announcement earlier today, and I'm just waiting to see what they're doing with the press conference and unless they've just now combined the press conference fan event, what the deal here is. I'm following along on YouTube. All you need to know is Southern Miss is going to be in the Sun Belt. How soon will we find out if Marshall will follow? That's coming up when we continue with today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank, the local bank that's here for every step of your life's journey. Member FDIC.
Text line is open, 304-523-2275. Paul Swann, your host for today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Texter writes, you mentioned the Texas schools yesterday regarding travel. UMass and UConn are not exactly local either if Marshall remains in this CUSA pile of dung. This is Bill. He's currently from Denver. Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. You look at the mileage. I'm not gonna go and rehash what Mr. Landon did today in the Herald Dispatch in his column looking at mileage, but I just think this is going to be a better situation for the Herd. I like the footprint better. I like the aspect that you got a couple of schools in the Virginia area. You got a couple of schools in North Carolina. You've got more of that regional Southern appeal. This didn't seem to be a problem when Marshall was in the Southern Conference. I mean, how many people were complaining about travel? I mean, again, we didn't have social media back in the day. So your mileage may vary as far as what you think is reasonable travel. But at the same time, not every fan's going to travel. So it's not going to be an issue. Some will. Got to look at alumni bases as well. Where are your alum at? You go to the schools in Virginia, you got Old Dominion and, well attended, right? If James Madison is in this thing, well attended, I would think Marshall fans, right? I would think so. Appalachian State, good showing by the Herd fans. I think travel's always going to be an issue. It doesn't matter what league you're in. Travel's going to be an issue because travel takes money. Just doesn't matter if you're chartering your flight or you're busing, but it's going to be easier for some to hop in a plane and go somewhere. And it's going to be easier for some to get in a car or a bus or SUV, head down for a weekend, do some traveling. Sure, right? And I think you factor that in with what's going to make more sense? Because again, if Marshall and Appalachian State play, I think there's a little bit more built-in excitement than, say, Marshall, and no disrespect to UTSA, but Marshall UTSA. I mean, they're going to be a ranked opponent when Marshall faces them. And I say win because I'm already banking on the Herd winning the conference championship. Come on now. Come on. I know this audience. You know, back when I was hired to be edgy because Woody was the patron saint of Marshall athletics, and I was hired to be the counterpoint to Woody, to be the edgy one. No, you didn't like that. Her fans did not like that. Love Woody. So that was a problem. So that's the only problem, is that you have a situation where you look at what Conference USA is going to be, and you see some of the potential names that have been brought up, and you look at where Marshall's at now. If Conference USA was not picked over by the American, and now with the Sun Belt taking care of getting the best of the rest, or the best of the available, you're going to have Western Kentucky, which is a desirable opponent. Middle Tennessee, a desirable opponent. FIU, all the years of grief with the Florida schools, because the Florida schools, for what they could be as far as programs concerned, have not lacked for interest as far as I'm concerned. FAU has a little swagger about that program. Won a couple championships in the conference, a little swagger. FIU's trying to replicate that, build that up a little bit. Maybe not the case, but it's been good. You get the recruiting down in Florida. Is that important today, to physically take a Marshall team to Florida? How important is that? You've seen what's happened over the last 5-7 years here, right? Is it that important to take a Marshall team physically to Florida to recruit Florida? I know I'm not making a case for FIU right now in this league, and I don't think you're going to see FIU in this league. You're not going to see Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee. Too many people have told me that the bad blood still exists. And you have a lot of those presidents that are still around. A lot of the people that were in the league several years ago when those programs decided to leave, which was at the time a better move. You thought, okay, this is a better move, but it went wrong somewhere. It definitely went wrong. You were adding markets, trying to chase television dollars, and the landscape has completely changed. Now, I mean, what does a television market mean? What does a market mean? For me, it's a lot different than a conference. To me, the Huntington market is important because the platform that I'm on, I speak to the Huntington market. I speak to this region. And of course, on top of that, now I'm speaking to anyone, anywhere on a stream, internet stream. You can listen to the program anywhere. If you download the app or go to the website, you get the stream. So I'm speaking to anyone, anywhere, not necessarily in this market, but I'm reaching different ears. And then I'm reaching different people on a podcast. And I know this is completely micro here, but a conference. Are you trying to reach a market, or I always thought you would try to attract the most viewers, period. And now with services like ESPN Plus, you're trying to attract also subscribers. Why do you think Marshall games are on ESPN Plus? Because Marshall fans will subscribe to ESPN Plus. Why do you think these products are there? It's because you will subscribe. Why will you subscribe? Because you're a passionate fan base. You're a fan base that will make the subscription purchase. It's like $5.99 a month. $5.99 a month, you get all the games that will not be broadcast on linear television. And for me, way more convenient, right? Way more convenient. Do you want to see games on national TV? Sure, you do. But what is national TV now? National TV is you're shotgunning it out to as many potential viewers as possible, hoping that they come across it and will watch it. Whereas if you're on a streaming platform, you're targeting. And again, as I mentioned, I'll sit there and scroll. Like, okay, what's on Plus right now? Lacrosse? Okay. Rugby? Yeah, I'll watch that. Hey, there's Herd Soccer. Okay, I'm going to watch that definitely, yeah. Hey, Marshall's got a game against this opponent. I'm going to watch that too. Maybe kind of get an eye on that. So that's where I think the Sun Belt's definitely got the upper hand here, is going after programs that are going to make sense for the geographic footprint. If you're Appalachian State, you're kind of smiling right now. You look at the map and you're like, oh, look at this. We could draw a circle. We can draw a circle around us, and these are our opponents. You can bust to Huntington if we want to. Fly to Huntington if you want to. Okay, bust to Huntington if you want to. You can charter up. All right, we're going to get your text in. You can do so at 304-523-2275, 304-523-2275. The White Claw phone line open, 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. Good things happening for Marshall soccer. We'll talk about that when we continue with today's edition of The Drive at ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank.
Text line is open, 304-523-2275. It's The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Texter writes, ESPN Plus is a great second option behind a traditional TV. Rather have that than jumping around like it's currently in Conference USA. Yes, I agree 100%, wholeheartedly, like. Stadium, CBS Sports Network. CBS Sports Network on Facebook. Stadium on Facebook. Give me a comprehensive television package that makes sense. Not this mishmash, this stew of, okay, let's throw this in. Okay, let's mix that up with this. All right, here it is. Here's your national TV package. I'm sorry. Stadium is a fine, and I don't mean to disparage them, but I think that Stadium is a fine programming option. It really is. But it's not where I want to be if I'm trying to build a program that is seen. Now, if Stadium can continue to grow as a broadcast outlet with reach, and of course you also bring a lot of original content, maybe give people a reason why to add you to your satellite or cable package. You know, again, I get digital packages, are important as well, but Stadium is maybe my fourth or fifth option when I'm looking for programming. CBS Sports Network's maybe my fourth option or fifth option as well, because you have ESPN and the family of stations. Then you have the Fox stations. And it depends, again, in this day and age of cord cutting, going to skinny packages. I mean, if you're a sports fan, you might be getting like football TV. You're looking at some of the streaming packages thinking, okay, what's got everything I want? And you might go that route. Or you're spending a lot more money on your traditional satellite or your cable package. Because if I want CBS Sports Network, I got to go up a few packages on DirecTV. Now, your mileage is going to vary because everybody's package is different. Cable, satellite, everything's changing. But if I want to actually get CBS Sports Network, I have to go up a few levels in package on the programming. Get a lot of channels I don't want paying a lot more money for maybe one or two channels. And reasonably, a family is sitting there going, okay, what can we do without? Well, let's cut TV a little bit. We don't need some of these channels here. Oh, well, I'm losing CBS Sports Network. Okay. I mean, there'll be some that'll say, yeah, no problem, I got that. And you're in a better position, and you watch a lot of TV, and that's great. Yeah, this isn't me versus you or you versus them. It's what are people going to do? People are going to go with the most affordable option for them. And if Marshall's on an ESPN, Marshall's going to have a lot more viewership than saying being on CBS Sports Network. A lot more potential. And that's, I think, what Conference USA's problem was. That was the NHL's problem for a long time. NBC Sports Network did a fantastic job. And fortunately, it was on a lower tier package, at least on DirecTV. I don't know what it was for on some of the other packages. But at the same time, you want to go where the eyeballs are at, and you want to go where there's more potential viewership. And does that mean take less amount of games for more reach? But again, it's all going to digital. It's going to streaming. And ESPN Plus is a great complementary package to being on ESPN. And of course, you might have to play some Tuesday, Wednesday games. I don't think you look at this as, okay, Marshall's going to be playing every Tuesday night. No. Marshall versus Appalachian State, Wednesday night showcase on ESPN2 or ESPN. Sure. Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State. I mean, whatever the big hot matchup is in the Sun Belt that week, and I don't see that is going to be the norm as far as, okay, you got 3 or 4 Tuesday or Wednesday night games. You got one maybe. It's not like MACtion, which MAC has embraced. That league has embraced that, and I'm here for it. I'm seriously here for it. It's memorable. You think about it. Sure, the fans aren't showing up, and I get that. I mean, fans are struggling now to buy tickets. Not just Marshall fans. Fans are struggling across the board to get into a game with what budget they have. I mean, if it's an individual, I mean, you can plan ahead, sure. If you got the discretionary income, there you go. This is part of what you do. I mean, for some, it's a game-by-game basis. Not that they don't want to support the herd or they don't want to go. It's just, okay, I can do this game. And I think with a schedule like what the Sun Belt possibly offers, I think there'll be a little bit more of an enticing schedule for people. Sure, a Tuesday night game might hurt, but at the same time, I think that if you work it right, if you're Marshall, and let's be honest, why do you go to a game when you can watch it on TV? Why do you go to a game? It's the experience. It's the atmosphere. It's the experience. And what should you do? You should always try to improve the experience at Marshall. For a Marshall football game, improve the experience, right? How do you do that? I mean, you got some options here. And I'm sorry to say the DJ is not one of the options that I would say improves game day. I don't think that, and let me tell you right now, for years, I was not a big fan of the Marshall Band. The Marshall Band has gotten a lot better. And if you're going to a college football game, I want to hear the band. I want to hear the pomp of a band. I want a college band playing. When there's quiet time, let them rock. Let them play. Sure, the DJ brings a different energy to the game, but you know what? I would look at maybe, okay, how can you make game day presentation better? And you have to look at that stuff. You got to look at affordability. You got to look at game day presentation. You got to look at everything. Comfort. You got to make sure that the experience is worth it. It's affordable, but it's still an experience, because if the experience is better at home, I'm going to watch it at home, right? If the game is on TV, the experience is better at home, you're going to watch it on your TV. So I think you gotta work at it a little bit. It's just not an automatic that, okay, I'm a Herd fan, so I'm going to go get a ticket and go watch the game. I think with a schedule that will have some teams that I like, and that's me, Georgia Southern, Marshall, cool, I'm there. I like that. Old Southern Conference days. I'm about it. All right, we got to hit the break. I promise you we talk a little bit about soccer. We're going to do that. We'll get your text in as well. You can do so by texting 304-523-2275, 304-523-2275. I do read them all. I'll try to get to them all as you send them. So the more you send, the more we'll get into. And we'll do that when we continue with today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank.
We're wrapping up today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Gates are open now for those of you heading to the Herds Inter-Squad Scrimmage tonight. Cam Henderson Center. The event's free and open to the public. If you haven't arrived yet and you're still on your way, don't forget you are asked to enter through the 3rd Avenue entrance at the top of the ramp, and you're asked to sit in the north end of the arena, the side opposite the benches. Soccer today. Marshall University has another conference honoree. This time it's Marshall men's soccer redshirt junior Milo Yosef, named Conference USA Offensive Player of the Week. Earned his first weekly award of the season and 3rd of his career. Marshall University also new soccer coaches polls out. Marshall is 2nd, Georgetown number 1, Marshall 2nd, Oregon State 3rd, Washington 4th, and then out of Conference USA, Kentucky 5th, and FIU 17th. Pretty strong. You're in a league with 3 top 25 teams. Actually, top 20. FIU 17, Kentucky 5, Marshall 2. You think Kentucky is going to stay in a watered-down Conference USA for men's soccer when it's an easy fix to just be an associate member of the Sun Belt if soccer happens there? Pretty easy. That's an easy fix. FIU, I'm sure FIU, will Conference USA have enough? Will the programs that the league's looking at, will those programs be enough to field a soccer program? I mean, not everyone in Conference USA has soccer, right? Not every program has soccer. But if you have, I mean, there are core sports you got to have, but if soccer is not one of them on your list there, but if Conference USA loses all the teams it's losing, and you don't have much left to replace it, because this is going to be a football forward movement here to replace teams. Football is going to be the main focus of whatever Conference USA looks like. Yeah, is men's soccer going to be a high priority for this league? Probably not. Will the Sun Belt add soccer? I mean, that's just one of the things I've heard. Not official. Not happening until it happens. But wouldn't that be cool? Right? I mean, we can talk about it. We can speculate a little bit about it. But that's a consideration here. But at the end of the day, this is going to be football first. Football driven, football focused first, with consideration for all of the other athletic departments. And the Thundering Herd, you can always find a landing spot for soccer. Soccer doesn't have to be beholden to Conference USA. Soccer doesn't have to. Soccer can be elsewhere. You can have soccer in the ACC. Why not? Right? Why not? Hey, look at the Sun Belt. The teams that are in this thing. You look at it. Southern Miss was a team I thought would turn the lights off in Conference USA, but instead, leaving for a new conference. Now, Conference USA doesn't have any original members left. This has been sort of the transitional conference over many years. The Sun Belt, pretty stable, right? South Alabama, oldest program in the Sun Belt, 1976. Arkansas State, Little Rock, and Louisiana, 1991. Been around a while. Troy, ULM, 2005 and 2006. Georgia State, Texas State, UTA, App State, Georgia Southern, and Coastal Carolina, recent additions. Georgia State and Texas State and UTA, 2013 additions. App in Georgia, 2014, and then Coastal, 2016. It's worked out, hasn't it? And you look at the enrollment, I think you're going to see like institutions, because App's got 18,000, Georgia Southern's got 23,000, UTA has got 35,000 enrollment, Texas State's got 33,000, Georgia State's got 28,000, then you got Troy with 12,000, Louisiana with 14,000, Little Rock's in the league at 7,000, Arkansas State's at 8,000, South Alabama's 9,000, Coastal Carolina 9,500. So you've got sort of a wide spectrum there, but nothing too crazy. So I think you got some like-minded institutions. Again, got to wait for Marshall to figure this out. It's a done deal, and we're just waiting for the formality here. Are we waiting for the right time to package this and present this? Is this a matter of putting together the right optics? I think Herd fans just want this done. And you look at the athletic department. I'm sure the athletic department is doing the legwork here, and the president's office is doing the legwork here. And it's up to the Board of Governors to approve this thing. And if it's going to be approved, then I think you should do it sooner than later. But I get it. You want to hire the new president. You want to name the new president. Won't take the job until next year, but you want to have that person's input. And again, that's a phone call. That's a Zoom call. You've probably already extended the job offer. Now Thursday's the formality. Do it properly. Do it formally. Here's the offer. Accepted. Okay, then we got to wait a few days for whatever input that's going to happen. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We appreciate everyone who joined us today. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to do it all over again. Tomorrow, we're going to get a little bit more focused towards Marshall's opponent this week. FIU coming to Huntington. We might have a couple of surprises for you tomorrow. Because after all, being on this show, that means we book big guests. I'm building them up because I like AJ Ricketts, the voice of FIU. I like him a lot. He's a really good guy to talk to, so I'm building him up a little bit. We'll have the voice of the Panthers tomorrow on the program. That's going to do it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W231BS Huntington, broadcasting from the Oscars Breakfast Burgers and Brew Studios. This is ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.